The following broadcast was produced by the Lighthouse for the Blind in San Francisco as part of our Lighthouse Learning Library.
So we're going to make this last segment before dinner energizing and fun. All right. So many of you know me as I am Kathryn Kemp. I am a professional coach, a career coach, and a life coach.
And Kate has something to say.
Oh, fine. Oh, no. Really? Okay. Alrighty then. Here's Kate.
Do I have to press it?
No, you're on.
Okay. I just want to say that those people who have been in an employment immersion program who are going to be recognized tomorrow, we've all had the pleasure of working with Kathryn in one way or another. And I've seen this woman make profound changes in people's lives and how they look at life and how they look at their job search. And I don't know if we've all given her the kind of appreciation that we feel all the time.
Clutch my pearls.
Clutch your pearls.
Well,
So,
thank you.
No, she really has been a true addition to this program, and I would encourage any of you that have a chance to spend some time with her to do that, and I hope all of you can work with her in the future.
Thank you. That was a lovely introduction. That was a lovely introduction. So we have a few choices. Whoa. 2 choices to make tonight. Or this evening. So choice number 1 is I'll stand here and just tell you about how job seekers, no matter what their status, no matter what their background, the things that all job seekers have in common and all job seekers need to know to make an effective job search. That's choice 1. I'll just stand here and tell you. Choice number 2 is we're going to have a contest where you answer questions, and you have to listen to all the directions if you choose this before we start. And we will give away a $20 Amazon gift card for the person who answers the most questions. So, by show of snaps, who would like the first version where I talk all night? Okay, we have 1. And we have 2. Okay, and a show of snaps, who would like to have a contest? Yes. All right. All right. All right. So we'll go the contest then. Is that okay? Excellent. So you're going to want to listen to all the directions before we start. So part number 1 is I'm going to throw out a question. And in order, if you'd like to answer that question, please raise your hand, and I will call on you. And for every question answered, my friend in the back, the lovely and talented Julie McCarthy, will write your name on a piece of paper and put it, in David Jackson's hat, if we can borrow it. Lori, could you pass it over? I've got $20 for you, buddy. All right, no, thank you. So maybe David will get one just for the hat. Okay, so then what's going to happen is Julie is going to be collecting answers. As you answer, she'll be collecting your name, and Kathy will also be helping with collecting answers from people. It takes a village to help Kathryn have a presentation, really. So, and then at the end, we will count the drawings, and we will ask Mr. Brian Bashan to make his final choice, and he'll be the final say in who gets the $20 Amazon gift card. And we will not tell you the winner until we break into 2 teams for tonight's coaching with Julie and me. 1 team will go with Julie, 1 team will go with me, and then tomorrow night we'll switch.
Do you need to be present to win?
You need to be present to win, because walking out on this fun experience, nay. Yes, you get your hat back. Okay, so does everyone understand the directions? All right, so here we go. And please know, I'm going to do everything possible to get as many people involved as possible. So just know that I have a core value of being incredibly fair. It may not be perfect. It's going to be incredibly fair. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to mention, and I was talking with some film buffs at lunch today. So who can tell me a little bit about the movie Up? Okay, I see Derek first.
Okay.
It's a Pixar.
Uh-huh. And what happens?
Ice cream. I know they sit on the curb and eat ice cream at the end of the movie.
They eat ice cream at the end. Yes, they do. What else happens in Up? Thank you. What else happens?
Do I continue or do you?
You can continue if you want to describe more of what happened in the movie, or we can ask someone else to fill in for you.
Okay, well, do I get a point or? I mean, you know.
Yes. Yes, you get a
point.
point. For starting us off, yes, you get a point.
Okay, I'm good.
All right, would you like someone to fill in?
Sure.
Okay, Ramona, what else happens in Up?
Okay, coming, Ramona. Where's Ramona? There she is, over there. She's hiding behind Dean. There you go.
Pixel is about this old man who is not the most happiest person, and there's a part where there's this kid that somehow whether they get connected, and then the house starts flying through the balloons.
Balloons.
They put balloons on the house,
Right.
right? And it starts floating around, and they go on to this venture, and where this old man was, kind of a grumpy person, and he really didn't like kids. It was the bond that this old man and this kid built.
Exactly.
That changed both of their lives.
Thank you very much for that great description. Thank you. Here's why I'm asking about Up. For those of you who've seen the movie, who doubted for a second that it was possible to fly a house from somewhere in America to somewhere in South America using only helium balloons? You did? I have a doubting Thomas. All right, a doubting Kim. Fine. So this is what I wanted to bring in, and then we'll get down to the meat of let's go step by step. We've heard in the last couple of days that job search is really hard, and that the economy is really bad. And you know what? There's some fact in there, right? Right? And I'm asking you to think about your job search as Up, where it's entirely possible to move an entire house with balloons and use that as your interpretation. So that because, as Henry Ford said, if you think you can, you're right. If you think you can't, you're also right. So I'm going to invite you to include the information that we've gotten from all the great speakers so far, and then add in your interpretation, as we were invited to do last night, about, there's some facts. Last month, there was not one new job created in the U.S. economy. That's a fact. And my interpretation is there's a job out there for anyone who wants a job. Make sense? Okay, so with that preface, knowing that there's a job out there for everyone who wants a job, what is the first step in starting an effective job search process? Whether you are sighted or visioned or had a bad childhood or your house fell on your knee or anything. How about Nicole?
Okay.
Research. Tell me a little bit more.
Decide what type of job you're looking for in maybe a place of employment, and research who works there and the type of environment they might have, to see if you yourself would feel comfortable working there. If it's a big company, a small company, maybe see if you can find people that you can contact to talk to them about the company.
Sure. So knowing the kind of company, thank you, Nicole. Nicole gets a point. So knowing something about where you want to work would be an important first step in an effective job search. And I've got a bunch of hands back here. Shamika, what would you like to add into that?
Shamika.
Okay, so the research and looking up the company is good, but you also need to find out if they have positions that you might be interested in. Instead of just saying, oh, you work in science, you need to say, okay, well, you have an analyst position and say what on my resume looks like without fabricating it. You might stretch the truth, but you're not fabricating it. You're not fabricating it in any way, but contour it to where it goes with your resume and cover letter. So when you do apply for it, you're not sending just any kind of resume or whatever it is that you're doing.
All right. So thank you. So aside from the small heart attack I had about stretching the truth, I think what Shamika is saying is really, really important, which is that, she's moved us actually on to the next step. We found a career direction. We found a company we're interested in. We found a job description. Now we have to write our resume. And how do we have to write that resume? We can have another hand. Let's see, Brian.
Yeah, okay. You have to write about your objective to seek an individual with blah, 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 blah. And then you have to write a list of the courses, and you also have to write a list of all the work experiences you've had post-college and a list of references.
So those are all very important things that go on a resume. Who would like to thank you, Brian, for a point? Who would like to add in to all of this? And how about Sky?
Okay, coming back, Sky.
It's important to, you already know the job description, so it's important to state that you really want or you would like to have that job in the objective. I know some resume are just plain that I obey commands and stuff like that, but I think it's good. For example, if I want a rehab job, it says I want that rehab job, or I'm seeking for a rehab counselor job in the objectives. And then also the other thing is to stay current on the. I said it's probably not good if you have, let's say, 20 volunteer or 20 jobs and you list all 20. Then you think the resume is so long. So they said that stay current. The first 3 or 4 are what's important, that it's related to the job that you're gonna try to get. Just try to get the related works that you did. So in reference, I'd say usually just ask for. I don't really put reference there, just as references upon request on the bottom, so not to, make my resume longer than it is already.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Sky, you've brought up 2 really important points that I want to address. One is, I heard you say that when you know the job description, you can tailor your resume a little bit to ensure that the experience that you have matches the demands of the job description. Did I understand you correctly when you said that? Great. And then the other thing he said is that he's not so sure he'd add in his references. And as Kate and I both know, for every resume, and Julie will certainly agree with us as well, for every resume, there's an opinion. So just know that, no matter where you are in the spectrum of life, it would be very important to make sure that your resume matched the job description so that you could clearly demonstrate your ability to take on that job. And you may or may not want to add references. I would refrain from it. That's me. So that is something very important. So far, what are the steps that we've learned in conducting an effective job search? Megan.
I'm coming around.
One, doing the research and finding out what job you want. And 2, I forgot the second one. I think it was the resume.
Resume,
doing
right.
your resume and making sure it is combined with the job description with the job that you're looking at, and also making sure you have all the information on there.
Absolutely. 2 snaps for Megan. All right. Thank you. Woo! All right. So we've just gotten down 2 steps of our effective job search. No matter our status or station in where we are, these are the steps that are common to all of us. Are you with me? Yeah. Fantastic. Okay. So we've got our career direction. We know what we want to do. We've got a great resume. What's next? Farhang?
Coming around, Farhang.
Thank you. Prepare and send out cover letters, the examples of which Julie gave us a moment back.
So write a great cover letter that will impress the hiring manager and show them your writing prowess, as well as many other exciting examples of your livelihood and experience in life. Yes, yes, yes. So yes, a cover letter would be important. And remember, the whole time we're sitting on under the umbrella of UP. So what are we believing as we're taking all of these steps? That we can find a job. Exactly. Exactly. Thank you so much. So Farhang, you got a point there. Thank you, thank you. So what are some great elements of a good cover letter, no matter your station? Oh, I see Christine. She is dying to answer this question. Christina, sorry.
That's okay.
I forgot the A.
Well, I wanted to add, in addition to cover letter, like we heard yesterday, a little one-pager, like 10 tips for effective stress relief or something. But effects to a good cover letter. You want to have a couple bullet points that are really tailored to the job, so they know that you really read the description. You want a spell check. You want a grammar check. And you want to have a way for them to contact you.
Very, very well done. Thank you, Christina. Woo-hoo! Woo-hoo! So what I hear you saying too, Christina, is that you're holding up the job description against your cover letter as well as against your resume, so you can put those bulleted points right on there that stand out to your employer. Thank you, Kate Williams. I'm pretty sure every one of us in this room can say that. All right. Okay. Megan, did you have a comment before we move on to the next piece?
Okay.
You also can, on your cover letter, put why you're, a little bit about why you think this is the job for you. So a little bit about yourself, not too much, but just give them a little bit of a reason, why. Here's why I'm applying. And here's what I'm capable of.
Great. Okay. Yeah. Well, Megan. Yeah. So great point. We don't want to start off our cover letter with one day in band camp. I thought that I might like to be an administrative assistant, and so. Right? You want to give them, but you do want to give them a flavor of how much you want the job. Fantastic. Yeah. All right. We believe we can get a job. We know what job we want. We've got a fabulous resume. We've got a fabulous cover letter. What's next? Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Okay, Eric.
Coming around.
Follow up.
Follow up. Tell me a little bit more about that.
You sent the cover letter and you haven't heard anything. It behooves us to let the prospective employer know that we're still interested.
So this is after you've sent it in to someone?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we'll give you a point for that. And what do you need to do before you send in your resume? All right, Michael Moore.
Have someone read it, look over your cover letter and read it, and read your resume.
And read your resume. Great. What else do you have to do before you can do it, Lori Van Allen? Yeah. Okay. So Michael said that, and how do you know where to send it?
You would look at the information that was on the website for the job that you're posting to, and it would say who you would email your resume and cover letter to.
It's dragonwoman.com.
Careful, she breathes fire. Okay, so we have to know where we're sending it. Point for Lori. Mike Peterson, what else would you like to add to that?
Coming around.
Wait for the microphone, please. Please wait for the microphone. We all want to hear you.
Okay, the one thing that is totally important, and this is what has helped me recently with the jobs I applied for, and they say it in some of the applications, learn to follow directions. If somebody wants the cover letter and the resume emailed to them, then by all means do that. But there may be situations where they want you to mail it. There may be situations where they just want you to email it. Follow directions, because if you can't follow directions when you're first starting out with the cover letter, then you've already made the impression, and they're probably not going to hire you.
Absolutely. Following directions is paramount as we've learned from the Dragon Lady today. As we've learned. So here's my real question is you want to apply to General Electric. How do you know where to send the application? What do we have to do first? Oh, we have, Kathy, who do you see?
Sarah.
All right, Sarah.
Yeah, I was going to say you probably skipped the most important step, and the only time I've ever gotten any response to all the things I've sent out is when there's been a connection. And I think the most important thing is, so if you want to apply to GE, you need to find people in GE to make a connection through something, through LinkedIn, through Kate. Thank you, Kate, for all your connections. Through my mother gave me a few connection jobs. I mean, through anybody. I think that's most important in today's economy, because I've sent out like hundreds and no response to except for the jobs where I had a connection.
Where you had a connection. Yeah. Clutch my pearls. Networking. Love it. Sarah gets a big bonus point there for that. Yay! You want to be on Sarah's team? All right. So when we network, what do we do? All right. Josh?
Okay. Come around, Josh. Just a minute.
Wait for the mic. Wait.
LinkedIn and so forth.
Okay.
You can use social networking tools like LinkedIn, try to make contacts with people. You can also just find different people and explain to them that you're looking for work and just try to find out information. You can also do some informational interviews with companies that you're interested in and try to gather information that way.
So what you've said is so important, thank you. And it brings us back to what Mike said yesterday, which is informational interviewing is really, really important. And it goes right back to what Sarah said is I've not gotten a response except when I've had a personal connection. So informational interviewing will get us a personal connection. What else will get us a personal connection? Jessa?
I'm just coming around. You're doing this purposely, aren't you? I know, I need to exercise.
Well, it's pretty important at this point to mention that if you're doing all your networking and using all the connections you have, then you're also probably talking to people. You're probably also, first of all, you're probably also getting connected with other communities that you're involved in. Maybe your church, maybe places you volunteer, and saying, I'm looking for a job in this particular field. And do you do you know of people who could help me?
Wow. That is a fantastic answer. You can start your network. Megan, I'm gonna wait a couple of turns for you since you're so prolific in your answers,
Yes.
which
That's
I
the one.
love, by the way. You and I can hang out. So what I hear you saying, Jessa, is start close in, right? You can start with your family. You can start with, Sarah said also your mom. You can start with people where you volunteer. You can start with where you work, right? Or where you want to work or where you volunteer. That's the word. Okay, have I lost my train of thought completely? Where you went to school. Excellent. Your doctor. Right. Do what we're doing here. There are a lot of amazing resources sitting in this room. Talk to each other. Change business cards. That would mean I am too also, yes. So Derek, you have a question?
Let's get the microphone. Contact information. Okay, if you get some information from a contact, do you put that contact information on the cover letter, or how do you? Because how do you let people know? Not so much as let people know, but your contact.
You put it on the cover letter? Is that your question?
The question, I guess the question is, like if you know somebody that works for this company, but they're not the one that does the hiring.
Okay, so you're sending it to a friend in the company, and you would like you would like them to bring it to someone in the company.
No, the friend in the company told me that they were hiring. Do you tell the company that you know the friend? If he was the CEO, that's what I'm saying.
We have a bunch of different opinions here. So Dean has an answer. So we're not awarding points yet. We're going to work this out first before we award points.
Just a second, Dean.
I did this before. What I did was I applied first.
Dean, wait for the microphone.
I applied first. Okay, this was a job at Google. I applied first on Google, and I didn't hear a couple of weeks later. So I sent it to my friends that I already applied online, just in case the hiring manager didn't get it. Can you send it to the hiring manager? And I mentioned her name on the cover letter, or I mentioned her name on the email, just in case she forwarded the email to the hiring manager.
Gotcha. So you made sure that the hiring manager knew that you had a connection. So then that connection, remember we heard yesterday that one of the things that's really great post-interview is for your friend to call and say, hey, I understood that Dean put in an application. I just want to let you know I've known Dean for a long time, and I think he'd be a great asset to our organization. How fabulous was that? Were you? So, yeah, yes, Kate, yes. Go ahead. Absolutely. We depend on you.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. If you have a connection in that company and you've talked to that person, you should absolutely have thank you. You should absolutely refer to them in the letter. My friend, John Smith, an employee of your company, suggested I write to you regarding your opportunity in the technical department.
All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Kate. And Mike, we've got Charles next.
Well, I think Kate, as always, addressed what I was about to say very well and correctly. I think, obviously, if you have somebody who works for a company and presumably you want them to be your reference because they have some credibility and presumably some value with the company, so you'd want to include their information as your referring source because you've upped yourself in the ability to be distinguished, A. And secondly, in your cover letter as well as your resume, I think you want to include your contact information either as a letterhead or just at your signature, your name and your telephone number and your email, not so much your city and physical location. The purpose for that would be if your friend who you sent the email to, if that person simply, all they have to do is forward that email to the hiring manager and all of your contact information is included within that document. So they don't have to say, this is so-and-so and you can reach him here, blah, blah, blah. Okay. You want to make it as easy as possible to move your submission forward.
Okay, so thank you, Charles, for reminding us. Julie needs to know who to call, right? She can't just anonymously gather from the ethers I'm pretty sure I should call Charles now, but I don't know why. Okay, so hang on, I'm gonna call on people, Tim, if that's all right.
Okay.
And Mike is a fabulous, very smart person, and we need to make sure everyone gets lots of chances. So hang on, Mike, I'll get you again. Okay, so Carol has something to add in, and then we're going to talk some more about networking.
So before you mention that you know somebody in the company, you should make sure that they have a good reputation. Because I had just got this job, and I mentioned that there was a family member that worked for the same company, and I ended up getting laid off right after I mentioned that I knew.
All right, so point to Carol for reminding us that we need to be sure about the reference, right? Okay. So how many people do you have to go through to get to the hiring manager's name? So maybe Mike Peterson would like his chance now. We have also Derek is shouting out an answer. So let's see who gets the points. How many people should you have to go through before you find the person in the company to whom to send your resume? Long question.
Am I answering this? Yeah.
Yes, the mic is in your hand.
It varies, and because the last time I did it, it only took one person to go through from an office, and she gave me actually 2 people because I was networking, and I almost made a fatal mistake. What I did, I got a network on LinkedIn. Somebody contacted me and said, I'm an advocate, and there's jobs here, and you should check it out. And I'm going, yeah, and I took it and I put it in my folder and just forgot about it. 2 weeks later, I was listening to a convention. Somebody else from the same place said, there's jobs here. People should be checking them out. I went, oops. So I went back to the email that I had 2 weeks earlier, opened it up, called the office. The lady said, I like you. I wish you were working for us, but you need to get on this civil service. So call this lady. So I called the other lady, and the next thing I knew, I had list upon list. They sent me a list of every single office, every single hiring manager. I knew exactly who to contact.
Holy smokes, give that man a point. All right. And Derek, I was really appreciating what you said about who are the folks that were in Berkeley with us the other day when we were playing the networking game? Tommy was there. Who else was there? Nicole was there. How many degrees away? Joshua was there. From Kevin Bacon, could we? So 6 is the maximum, but all the people that we named, how many degrees of separation were there? 2. Absolutely. So you never know how easy it is to find someone. So we've heard a couple of mentions of LinkedIn. Can I share? Would you mind if I took a moment to share with you a very special LinkedIn story? Is that okay? All right. So a girlfriend of mine is writing a book. And her dream is to have it published by this very small publishing house of which she has a lot of respect. And so she had a person lined up in her network that was going to hand this book proposal to someone at this publishing house. And then the friend turned a little lukewarm on her and wasn't returning her phone calls anymore. And all of a sudden, she'd lost contact with the person in her network who was going to make this book dream come true. And so we were on the phone together, and she said, Kathryn, I don't know what to do. And I was like, well, let's get on LinkedIn. And she was like, what are you talking about? I said, let's get on LinkedIn. So we looked up. I was on mine, she was on hers, and we looked up the name of this very tiny publishing company, and I said, well, it shows on my number 2 degree of separation that I know this guy named Scott Smith. And she's like, how do you know Scott Smith? I know Scott Smith. And I looked over on the side of LinkedIn page that tells you how you get to the second person, and I'm like, it's because I know you and he's in your network. And so she was like, you know what? Scott Smith and I just Facebooked yesterday. He just had a root canal. And I was like, You just emailed him yesterday. Okay, so let's break this down. He works as a vice president in the company where you want your book published, and you're good enough friends with him that you just discussed his recent root canal. And I said, okay, so what are we going to do now? And she was, what was she? Shocked, thankful, what? Networking. What else was she? Silent, did I hear? Excited. What else was she? Embarrassed. She was on her way to being a published author. Because remember who she was talking to. She was terrified of talking to this guy and actually asking him for help. This is a woman who is this amazing writer. He knows of her work. He's a vice president. He's on her LinkedIn page. She was still terrified. Totally normal part of the process that all folks in all walks of life go through. You're scared to ask for help, even if it's people that you're really close to in your network. So I was like, okay, girlfriend, this is it. Before we get off the phone, you are sending this man an email right now. She was like, what? I was like, right now. So she's like, I feel like I'm in 8th grade. What do I write? What do I write? I was like, write what's in your heart. And so she wrote him an email. And she calls me 20 minutes later. He just responded. And she was like jumping up and down. You could hear it on the phone. I'm like, okay, stop jumping. Thank you. And she's like, he wants me to call him in half an hour. So she did call him in half an hour. And it turned out that the reason he asked for the half-an-hour grace period is because he wanted to take the time to look her up online and find her writing and find out all about her, so that when she called in half an hour, he knew what he was talking about. And they ended up talking for an hour and a half. So now this man has invested 2 hours without any kind of notice whatsoever. And then he spent another half an hour sending her all sorts of resources about, you know, here's what to fix, here's what to fix, here's what to fix. And when all of this is in place, I personally am going to place this proposal on the president's desk for consideration for a publication.
So it moved way up the chain from the friend who would talk to her.
It moved right way up. Like, that friend is so far in our rearview mirror, we don't even know, right? So work your network, find out who your people are. And in this case, we used the tool of LinkedIn. Even though she's so funny, she's on Facebook and LinkedIn every day, she didn't even think to use it. And when she did, she was very, like, it's a normal part of the process to be scared. And feel the fear and do it anyway. Because what was fact and what was her interpretation? Yes, Michael?
She knew him, that's a fact. She knew him, out again.
All right.
She knew him, and she was afraid. Her interpretation was that he wouldn't help her.
Right. So she was afraid of being rejected.
Right.
Yeah. And so, which rang true? He helped her. Yeah, he helped her. Point to Michael. Way to go. So, yeah. So let's get some more people, some more points. So when you use LinkedIn, what do you do? Let's see. Oh, Lisa, we haven't heard from Lisa yet.
Okay, coming around here, Lisa.
You add connections that you know via the LinkedIn tool. You enter in people that you email via the email tool on LinkedIn. You find friends of friends that you know and you add them.
Great answer. You put up your profile and you get as many connections as you can right away, because you never know who is your second degree of separation. Mine happened to be the vice president of this publishing company. So, Shamika, I'm just going to ask you to hang on a second and see if we can get some more folks that we haven't heard from, and I'll remember to get back to you and Dean and Lori, who's been so participative. We've got Jerry back here. Jerry, what else is important about LinkedIn?
Got it. Tony's got it. Thank you, Tony.
You have to let your network know that what you're looking for.
You have to let your network know what you're looking for. Again, with the ethers, right? They can't just divine somehow, mysteriously, I think Jerry needs a job. How will I help him? So you have to let him know what's going on. So point for Jerry, thank you. All right, Kelly, what else do we know about LinkedIn?
You have to make sure your profile is up to date with your resume, your, if you want to put a photo on there, you can, your like education and stuff like that.
Yeah, so making a complete profile that really speaks to your skills and talents is really important. So, and who can fill in even some more color than Kelly, who just got a point? Axel, what would you?
Kelly.
So, sorry, we need a microphone so we can hear you.
So one more important thing about those social networks, including LinkedIn, is before you sign up or open up an account, read the privacy policy and the policy and procedures, because they're subject to change at any time. And and be careful with should you have intellectual property protected, don't post it.
Great.
Because they
Thanks.
fucking claim it.
Thanks for those reminders,
So
Axel.
It's very important to remember, otherwise you'll be sorry.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. And Dean, before I get to you, Lori Van Allen, I'm going to give you an extra bonus opportunity in this moment because Lori's actually done this with me, and so this is why. So if you turn around and take a mic in front of you, when you were on LinkedIn, what did you do?
I went into your profile and looked at the people that you have on your connections with LinkedIn, which Kathryn has quite a bit, like over 300. And I looked at people and what their interest is and what my interest was, and I found 3 people out of her list that have the type of work that I want to be doing, and so Kathryn's going to help me connect with them.
Exactly. She called me up, thank you so much, and asked me for warm introductions. Now, I've been a little delinquent about that, and I'm very sorry. And was I upset that you asked me for help? Was I saying, no, I'm sorry, Lori, I'm just not going to do that for you? What happened? Oh, sorry.
You said we talked about the 3 people that I had selected, and you told me a little bit about each one of them, and you said that you would get in contact with them, and then get back, and then have them get back with me when you had time.
All right, thank you. Thank you, thank you. So that is one way to use your network, is to get those warm introductions. No matter where you are on the spectrum of vision, no matter where you are in the spectrum of your house falling on your knee, no matter where you are in the spectrum of cat ownership, these are all things that we all need to do to conduct an effective job search. You guys are doing so well. Okay, so Dean, do you have a quick question, and Shamika, or is it a statement? Here comes a microphone your way, darling.
Couple of things, really simple ones. Join a group, because they usually not only have discussions. Once you join the group, you're connected automatically to the person, everybody in the group, so you can send them email without going through an introduction. And they usually have discussion. And what's the best thing is they all post job listings there too. So join a group. And then there's also a company feature that if you follow a company, it gives you a fee every time they have a job opening. It tells you on your homepage there's a fee. So that's all I have to say. I could go on and on, but
Thanks. Thanks, and Tim, if you wouldn't mind hitting Shamika with that too, in the back there, in the beautiful pink tank top, birthday girl.
Okay, so, what I did actually on my LinkedIn account was every time I met, let's say I went to a career fair or some kind of fair or anything, and I talked to somebody, I'd say, oh, do you have a business card? And if they didn't, I'd say, well, do you have a LinkedIn account? And I'd link to them. And actually, I even got a response from a Physics Honor Society, which I wanted to join my undergraduate as, but our campus didn't have that particular one, but they actually accepted me into the Honor Society on LinkedIn, although I'm not a national member as of the moment. So if you go to, like they said, go to member or groups that you have things in common with, that'll open up a whole new thing, a whole nother, because now I have like
A
57.
whole nother layer.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you. So Shamika, and did you get one for Dean too?
So now I have
Great.
like 57 people. Woohoo!
Woo,
Yay.
that's fantastic. There you go. Okay. Kate, one more thing before we go on to the next step.
I just have to commend one of the people in the group. It might not be the way I would choose to use LinkedIn. I have a little bit different take on it. But I have to tell you that Mike Peterson, he was challenged to have 50 people in his LinkedIn in the first 2 weeks, wasn't it? 50 people, because it takes 50 people to really make LinkedIn effective. You have to have that many people. And within 1 month, Michael had over 1,000. So just have to let you know.
Oh my goodness. Wow, that translates out to a lot of folks. Okay, so we believe there's a job out there. We have defined the career we want. We have written our fabulous resume, our even more fabulous cover letter, and through our network, we have applied for the position of a lifetime. So what's next? And so we have, wait, hang on. Okay, I'm gonna go Megan. I got you, Charles, Brian. But I'm trying to spread the love. So if there's other people out there, we wanna spread the love. So go ahead, Megan.
First, we need to, after we've submitted our resume, we need to, what is it? Like, we need to push it, like call them and keep in touch and keep, I can't remember the word.
So love how you're building.
We need to follow up with them.
Yeah, love.
Make sure they know who we are because we want their job.
Right. So following up on Eric's great comment earlier, we follow up. Okay, great. And Karen, you had something?
My time will come.
A quick note to add to that comment. Also ask them, is there anything else that I can provide for you to make your decision easier?
Dragon Lady, how would that sit with you if you got a request like that?
Hang on, Dragon Lady.
There you go.
Are you people going to be calling me Dragon Lady for the next 2 days? Yeah, whatever. I want to say something about following up with the employer. It's fine to say, is there anything else that you need? Personally, if I say no phone calls or whatever it is, I want you to respect that, and yet I know that you need an update. My recommendation is contact the hiring manager after hours, leave a voicemail after hours, or send an email. Don't call them every 18 minutes, and when they pick up, be like, this is Violet Smith, what's going on with my resume? Just
Stalker.
A tip. So you don't want to put them on the spot, that's why.
Stalker, thank you, Julie McCarthy, Princess of Light. Thank you. So Julie McCarthy, Princess of Light, has called you. Mike wanted to add something in before I move forward. Thank you, Mike.
Sure, thank you. You're wonderful, by the way. Just a quick comment. I hear singulars and plurals. I hear about that perfect job that we're applying for, and then I hear about companies. I want to tell you, I just see a lot of very, very sad people who are, and I say to them, how's things going? Well, I'm waiting for a response from blank, and they name one company that they have an application with. Surely there must be more than one place that you want to go to work for. So don't put all, as my mother used to say, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Get several baskets out there so that one of them might work for you. Does that make sense?
You want to keep tracking it. You want to parallel on. Mike, so we have Mike and Charles, and I only have 5 minutes left, and we haven't talked about interviewing yet. So is this something that we should definitely get into the room, or should we move on to interviewing? I'm asking. It connects with interviewing? Charles, does your connect with interviewing?
Yeah, I just want to make one really quick comment, and I'll shut up. In addition to LinkedIn, another great research tool is Google Alerts. It's really easy for people to set up a Google Alert to track a company or an industry.
Okay, thank you, Charles. All right, go ahead. And so Mike's going to get his turn, and then we're going to talk about interviewing.
Yeah, if you're interviewing and you know you're going to do phone interviews, which seem to be a lot more common than than they used to be. And in fact, the interviews that I've been doing recently aren't even the 20-minute variety. They're like an hour and 20 minutes long. But if you want to stand out and you want them to see you, and they can't see you on the telephone, what you can do without being real bold and say, here's my resume with my picture on it, what you can do is put your LinkedIn information at the bottom of your resume. They can click on it. And when I send my cover letters by email, they can click on my LinkedIn if they want to. And if they don't, that's okay, because when they interview me, I make sure to tell them how I use LinkedIn as a networking tool, that I'm going to use it to find jobs for my clients.
All right.
And so they can click on the picture. They get 2 chances.
Wonderful. 2 bites at the apple. Farhang, I'm going to move on, if that's okay. Okay, so yesterday, our friend Marty Nemko talked about some interviewing techniques, and we go by a slightly different acronym. And what was he talking about in terms of having a really effective interview now that Julie McCarthy, Princess of Light, has called you for your interview? So, horror stories. Okay, so we're looking for some fresh hands. So, Dean, you have been amazing. Your knowledge is fabulous. All right, we got Lauren. Yeah, we want you, and we want to give everyone a chance. All right, Lauren, go for it. What's important on the interview?
Okay, so the PAR story stands for the The PAR story stands for the problem, the approach, and the resolution, meaning one of the things the employers will ask you is, or one thing that is important to tell your employer would be, A, what was an adverse problem that you had to deal with, either in a work setting or volunteering? B, what was the approach you took to handle the problem in the most effective way possible? And then C, what was the resolution to your particular problem?
Wonderful. Point for Lauren. Way to go. Way to go. And who can tie that to what we learned just this afternoon about interviewing and Xavier? Joe, right? What was he saying today about a really effective interview? Someone who hasn't spoken yet. All right, someone who has spoken already. All right, how about Axel?
Okay, I'm coming, Axel.
Well, the most effective way was just to do comprehensive research about the background of the company, what they're up to, what they're, all about what they're, what Mike described as a 360-degree approach that you cover all their aims and.
So if I'm hearing you right, you're talking about when he was talking about turning up the heat and looking at a problem from 360 degrees?
Well, that's one part of the interview. I'm talking about the company background, what they're aiming for, what they're, just get a comprehensive company profile, what they're really looking for, what they're aiming for.
So make sure you know what's
going on.
going on.
Cater to that, exactly.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, just cater to, just get this straight that you really know what company you are dealing with and that you can answer the question in their interest.
All right, so
that's pretty easy to do because which company doesn't have a web profile nowadays?
Right, exactly.
Right?
So come to the interview prepared is what
absolutely.
I hear you saying. Yeah. Okay,
sure.
thanks very, very much. Make sure you understand. It is 6:15 and I am out of time. How sad is that? Boo! How sad is that? So Farhang wants 30 seconds, and we have one final piece. You've scored. You've gone to the interview. You've wowed. Julie McCarthy, Princess of Light. What do you do, George?
There's one major thing that's been left out that's basic about interviewing, and that's just show up on time, dress for success.
Show up on time, dress for success. All right, George. Okay, since I'm out of time, I cannot take any more hands. My apologies. I want them all. And what I want you to really, really notice is you guys know how to do this. And just in the same realm as the weight loss experience we had yesterday, right? You guys, you've got it. So that's a huge thing to celebrate. You know all the steps. And so now it's about putting them into action, which is what I believe Julie and I will be talking about tonight, is now that you know, how do we make your dreams come true? How do you make your dreams come true?